Welcome back to Movement-Professional.com. So today I want to talk about a bit of a controversial topic, and just that is the squat, and then what is the appropriate depth of the squat. So some people will tell you never to squat below parallel. Some people say don't squat at all. You know, what is the right answer? I basically say that there is really no one right or wrong answer, but if we understand the movement of the squat, maybe we can shine some light on how to educate people on what's appropriate for them and what might not be appropriate for them. So first, if we look at the position of the squat or the movement of the squat, we can break it down into two positions and then just a transition from those two positions. So the first position is just standing, all right? And you want to make sure that standing is a standard position that you get really stable. Most people neglect this and they just go right into the squat and they don't really realize that when they come back up to standing, that's a huge part of the movement. All right, so when we're standing, and I've done other videos about the pelvic position, it's very important that you're able to get a neutral pelvis, which again is these two hip bones. Your pubic bone should make a flat table through here. All right, so this is going to be the position that you come back to every time you stand up from your squat. The second part of the squat is obviously the bottom of it, so there's where the controversy lies. How deep do you go? I look at it this way, is that a squat is really more of a position first. If you look at it through the developmental sequence, if you look at 2-year-old infants, they squat just to hang out. And also in other cultures, people just squat to sit. It's another form of sitting. So why not try to train all the way down to the bottom of a squat almost to get into that sitting position? And once you get that perfected or you get proficient at it, then you can start adding a little bit of load to it. So we're standing, we're going to screw our feet into the ground, we're going to make sure that our knees are a little bit out already just by externally rotating the hips. We're making sure that the pelvis is neutral. Alright, and then we want to drop down slowly and see if we can get down into this bottom position without losing any of the stability, having the knees go in, having to come up onto the toes and translating the weight forward. Alright, so there's a lot of mobility and stability demands in just going through that full range. Just because you can't get all the way down there if you don't have that range of motion doesn't mean it's not appropriate to squat all the way down to that bottom position. The way I look at it is if you can't get down there, then you're not able to actually do a full squat. You can do a partial range squat, but an actual squat, the definition of the squat should be going from the top position all the way to the bottom, which would be being able to basically sit in a squat. So it's actually challenging for me without the proper footwear on to get into the bottom of the squat. So one of the ways to change that, and this is something that Gray Cook and the functional movement systems have done, is they add this little 2x6 piece under the heels. It allows you to keep your feet forward, and now I can still, I'm not migrating forward into the front of my feet, but just because of a little bit of a change in angle, I can stay back, I can still open up, and now it's much easier for me to sit into the bottom here. So at first glance, this may look like, all right, that's really stressful on the knees because my hips have gone below parallel, but where I'm distributing my weight is back through the heels, and it's out towards the outer edge of the feet, so I'm engaging first by going back through the heels. I'm engaging the posterior chain. I'm going into a little bit more hip flexion, starting to engage some of the posterior chain. You're putting it on a stretch. And then by being more towards the outer edge of the feet, I'm engaging the outside hip muscles, the abductors, and the rotators. So now I'm putting much less stress on my knees because I'm engaging the hips instead. And then just by engaging from the top, that standing position that we talked about of trying to keep this neutral pelvis, you get started from the top, that stays on the whole way down. So now I'm able to dissipate some of the stress that would otherwise be on the knees by having my hips work a lot harder and my core work a lot harder. Now this is one of the best mobility exercises you can do for your hips. And one of the problems that we have in this culture is that we're sitting at a 90-degree angle most of the day, so we're going to be limited in our hip mobility to about here. All right? And that makes it challenging for many people to get into the bottom of the squat, but in my opinion makes it more important to try to train that position. Now if you can't get there, you don't want to load the pattern, so we don't want to immediately start adding weight to a squat that can only go to here because I haven't trained the motion of going through that full depth. So you may never be a person that should be adding load to your squat. Train the position and you get so much benefit out of it. I mean, it's a beautiful sight to watch somebody who's got full mobility, full stability to go down and up into a squat with good stability and no compensation. All right, there's a lot that goes into that, so that you need to take some time to train it. But to neglect the bottom of the squat for some arbitrary rule that it's supposed to load the knees is very short-sighted, and it doesn't take into account many of the other musculature that can come into play that otherwise wouldn't come into play if you made the squat partial. All right, so other ways to do that other than the 2x6 is to do a Bosu. All right, so again, I take the ankles out of the mix, and that's one of my limitations. So I take the ankles out of the mix, I get this unstable surface which I have to control, so I work on this standing position and just being able to balance here. And then again, I shift back a little bit first, and my feet are already going to be in the right position to allow my knees to go out, and I work on sinking through here and training my feet in the bottom of this squat position. Again, I have no load here, so I'm just working on the mobility necessary to get into that position. There's a built-in mechanism that if you're able to go up and down on the Bosu with the proper knee position, proper hip position, you're going to tend to kick in the stability muscles necessary. Otherwise, you're just going to fall off. So being able to train on here and getting yourself in this proper position and hanging out low, without having to think about it, without having to do any type of engagement, you're already able to find those deeper stabilizing muscles just necessary to hold this position. Alright, so if you can get comfortable here, there's very little stress on the knees because I'm getting very good at using my hips to take that stress away. Alright, once I get proficient at that, then I can start loading the squat. And a good way to start with that is going into this goblet squat where I can still keep the same position, same hip position, and still keep engagement in the deep core muscles and the hips so I'm not putting the stress on my knee. Alright, so at that point, when you've become proficient at the full movement with your body weight, start adding the load. And then there's no reason not to add a barbell, doing back squats, front squats, overhead squat. But every squat has its technique and its form that you got to get proficient with before you start adding more load. Alright, so that's my take on it. If there's controversy on this, send me comments. I'd love to discuss it. See you next time.